Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial video. So today is Django day. So today's video we are going to be creating this magic navigation using Django. So as you can see, this hover, whenever you hover on each of the buttons, this magic navigation appears on all of them. So without wasting much time, let's get into this video. So first I'm going to open my command prompt. So first we need to create the packages we need to start this. So first I want to navigate to my desktop because I want to create the folder on my desktop. So let's go to desktop. So I'm on my desktop now. So let's create a folder. So make directory. So mkdir. So we want to name our folder name. Let's say, okay, let's call it YouTube. So okay. So click enter. So now I want to navigate into our folder. So cd YouTube. Okay, so now we are in our folder. The first thing we want to do is we want to create a virtual environment. So what basically virtual environment do is that we are going to store our packages we'll be using for our application inside a virtual environment. So let's say pi, we'll go to -m, then we say virtual environment vmv, then the name of the virtual environment. So pi m -m vmv virtual environment. So you can name it anyhow you want, but I want to name it virtual environment. So so if maybe you want to name it like maybe bold or whatever I want to name it, but I want to name it virtual environment. So that's basically going to be the name of the virtual environment. So hit enter. So wait like some seconds. Okay, so it's done. So right now let's go to our folder we created in C. So when we go to our desktop, you can see we have this folder created here, YouTube. So when we open, you can see the virtual environment we just created here. So let's come back to our command prompt. So now we are going to install, or first, okay, we'll activate our virtual environment. So first, to activate it, basically I have to go vmv /scripts, so /activate .bat. So basically what you are just doing is when you open our folder, the virtual environment we just created, when you open it, you can see this source here, script. When you open it, you can see this file activate.bat. So that's the file we have navigated into. So this is what you are going to use to activate the virtual environment. So that's basically what we are just doing here. So let's come back to the command prompt here. So click on enter. So you can see that our virtual environment has been activated. You can see it here. So now let's install Django into our virtual environment. So go to pip install Django. So this is going to take some few seconds, and you need to be connected to the internet as well to be able to install this. So I'm already connected to the internet, so wait for some few seconds. So as you can see, our Django has been installed successfully. So now we want to start our project. So let's say Django admin start project. then the name of our project. So we want to call our project web. So let's say web project. So we click on enter. So once again, when we come to our folder, you can see the web project which has been stored here. So back into our command prompt. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create app. So before we create an app, we don't need to do that. So let's just create an app straight forward. So let's say Python manage.py start app. Then the name of our app. So we want to call our app, let's say website. So click on enter. Okay, so it says no search file directory. Okay, sorry, we need to move into our project, the project we just created there, the web project. We need to move inside it. So let's get back. So let's say cd, then the name of our project we just created, which is the web project. So web project. So now we can start over. So Python manage.py start app website. So you can see inside our project folder we have our app created called website inside it here. So now let's check and see if everything is working. So let's just say Python manage.py run server. Okay, so you can see there's the part that our server is running at. So I'm going to copy this, then we'll go to our browser and paste it. So you can see Django has been installed successfully now. So now let's hit Ctrl C to stop it. Then we are going to open it in our code editor. So you can use any code editor you want. Basically, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code because of the HTML and CSS part of this. Because Visual Studio Code basically makes it easier to write HTML and CSS. And you know, in Django, we are going to be using HTML and CSS to build the magic navigation. So I'm going to be using, but you can still use PyCharm or any code editor you want to use. It's perfectly fine. So now I've opened my project in the Visual Studio Code now. So you can see we have our project and our website. So first thing we are going to do is, so let's go into our project and inside our settings.py. So what we are going to do, we are going to install this application inside here. So sorry, I'm just installing some extension anyway, so pardon me for that. So okay, let's get back into our settings.py. So inside our settings.py, let's come to installed apps. So under the installed app, we want to install, you remember that these are web project, which is the project we just created. Inside our project, we've created this application. So we need to install this application, which is called the website, inside our web project. So when we come down here, so let's say your code. So when you come to the app, if you open the app under the app folder website, realize that a class of the app has been defined here as website config here. So when we come to settings, we want to specify the path. I just want us to follow the standard of how they installed this. You can see these are other apps installed, like the admin panel apps installed already. So I just want us to follow the same format. So first we need to specify the path where the application is. So we have website inside our website folder dot, then apps. So inside our website folder, the apps.py file, that's the apps there. So dot apps, then dot, then the name. So inside the apps, the name of our file here, which is website config. So let's copy this website config. So paste it here. So I hope you understand what I mean. So now we've installed our app here. So let's close the settings.py for now. Let's close this as well. So now let's go to a URL. So we want to define our URLs. Okay, before we do that, let's go into our app. Since we installed our app, let's create a path inside our app. So inside our app, let's go to views.py. I want to define, I want to create a render, a request that will render our application. So let's say let's say dev define index. So request, so we want to return render. So as you can see, Django has automatically imported render from Django.shortcut. So that's what we are going to use to render the request sent from the index file we are going to be created. So that's, we are rendering the request which I will send for index. So we've not created our index file yet. So but I will create it after this. So return render. So another thing I will let you know is that I may take some time doing this. So there's reason why is that my focus for this video is basically on the beginners. So if you are advanced, maybe this might be a little delay for you. So you can basically skip the video if you know all this. But basically I'm just doing this for beginner's sake. So pardon me for that. So those who are new to Django, so I just want to take my time and go through this well. So we want to return render. So now let's say request. So public. So you understand why we are saying this here. So public index.html. So which means we are going to create a file, a public folder. You are going inside a public folder. You are going to create a file called index.html. So that's what it means. So now let's go into our application now. So inside our app folder, so new folder, so we'll call it templates with a small t, so everything lowercase, so templates. So inside our app folder website, we are creating a folder called templates, and inside the template folder I want to create another folder called public, which is the folder here. So inside the public folder, then we'll create our file called index.html. Okay, so Okay, so now after this, let's go back to, so after we've created our URLs now, let's come to the, okay, let's close this. So we are going to render these URLs we've created to our project. So inside our project, let's come to urls.py. So it means we are going to call the URL that we've created inside our app. So here, let's create, so here let's import include here. So part comma, we will say include. Yeah. So let's come down here. So let's copy and paste this. So let's edit this. So this is an app, a URL part that has already been rendered. So this, whenever you open your Django, it automatically comes with admin panel. So that's the link to the admin panel that is there. So here I want to say, so our app, so we'll say website dot urls. So because we are going to create a URLs inside our website, so it means we are going to render our, so okay, let me just create it so you understand. So inside our website app, let's create a new file. Let's call it urls, same as the one we have in there. So it means inside our web project, it already came with urls.py. So we've created, oh sorry, let's rename it. It's supposed to be .py. So it came with a URLs file already, but we've created another one inside the website. So that's what it basically means. So let's come in here. So basically, let's copy this. So let's come here and paste it here. So this is the URLs inside the website. So when we come here, we are saying our path, which is home. When you go to home, follow this, render this URL. So URL which is inside the website. So our website is the app dot URLs. So the URLs is the file inside the website. So we are saying when you go to the home page, which is empty string, when you go to the home page, render the URL inside website dot URL. So what URL is that? So now let's go inside the URLs inside the website dot py and see the URL that I want to render. So this are website dot py. So we want to define the URL we want to render here. So let's delete this. We don't need this. So please be noted, we are inside the website, the new urls.py we just created. So inside here, we want to render this URL, which is views from views.py. So first let's import the views.py here. So import current folder, then views. So okay, sorry, this is supposed to be views.index. Okay, sorry, I think the import is, so we'll say from current folder import views. Okay, so why are we importing views here? So you realize that, so inside our application, so inside our views, we have index here, and the index is rendering the URL now, which is the index.html file we are yet to create. So okay, we've created it already. So it will render whatever we are typing inside the index to us in the public. So then we are importing this inside our urls.py, which we've created in our app. So after after the part that we've created inside the views, that's the part we are rendering here. So after that, okay, we don't need this include, so let's remove it. Don't need the admin too. So after rendering this here, then when we come to the settings.py, sorry, it's not the settings, it's the urls.py inside our project folder. Then the URLs which we just rendered in our app, we are importing it here. So this is what we have here. So I think let's open the folder here. Okay, so then we render that we've imported that URL, we've included that URL inside the part which will be rendered in the project for us. So that's basically what it means. That's basically the plenty things we are doing. That's how it goes. So let's close all this now. So let's come to our index.html and see if what we have is working. So first let's do some starter code. So let's say hello, welcome. So let's go to our terminal. Then okay, Python type. Okay, my terminal is still loading. So you need to make sure in your terminal you are inside the project path, the project. So inside that path, we'll say Python manage .py. Okay, sorry, I think we're supposed to go into another part. So okay, let's go to our desktop. So when we open this, realize that inside this part there is another part here. Okay, so I think we are right. So we are inside the part there. So the reason why is you need to make sure you are inside the part where this manage.py is located, because this is what is going to help you run your development server. So you always need to make sure you are inside the part where this manage.py file is located. So you realize that inside the YouTube folder we've created, when you enter the web project, you see this here. So when we look at the part we have here, you see it says desktop. You go to YouTube and we enter the web project. So that's where manage.py is located. So it means you are in the right path. So let's continue. So manage.py run server. So let's wait for it to run. Okay, so it's taking some time. Okay, I think you're having an error. View must be callable or list to pull in case of include. So okay, let's Okay, I think I know the problem. Sorry. So inside our URLs, so when you come to our project file inside the URLs, I think this should be include. We didn't bring the include here because we imported the include here. We're supposed to include this in the web. So let's close it and rerun it again. So Python manage the PyRun server. Okay, so another error view in case of include views must be. Okay, so guys, pardon me, sometimes it do happens, errors. Errors. Oh, okay. I think we need to remove this from the code because we imported the view, so the path is not recognizing the views. So we need to remove it in the code before it to recognize. So you see when you click on this, it's also highlighted this, which means it's recognizing it now. So let's run it again. I hope this time around no error. So okay, so you can see it's running successfully now. So let's follow the link on the port. So you can see our home page is rendered successfully. You can see hello, welcome here. So like I said, pardon the errors, is all about app development. So sometimes it will happen. So I hope you understand how we started this. So once again, if you are not a beginner, you can just skip to where the part you wanted, the side you wanted, and you go. I'm just trying to take my time and go through this for beginner's sake. So now that our home page is rendering now, so now we can start creating our stuff now. But one thing I always recommend about creating applications is that you don't always have to render or create everything in one page. Creating application always supposed to follow structures to make it easier understandable. So we can just create our thing here and go at once, but I don't like it that way. I always, let's say you are creating an app where you have a home page and an about page, you want to render all of them here. So you don't have to create everything here. We need to create them and import them here. So to understand what I'm saying, okay, let's come into our public folder, create a new file. So let's call this navbar. So navbar.html. So instead of, we are going to create our navbar in our HTML, then we are going to import it into our index.html. So our index.html is going to be like the page where we render all our component inside. So let's say we have our footer component, we are going to render it inside the index. We have our header component, we render the header component inside the HTML. So it makes it easier to have group of files. You don't want to have the whole thing created under one page. So in case you want to use navbar, we want to use the navbar of this project in another Django file, you just have to come and copy the navbar.html. Don't have to come inside the index, go through the whole code trying to figure out where the navbar is and take it out. So I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to do. So instead of this, let's clear the whole of this, or let's just copy, Control A, then delete it. Then we'll come to the navbar.html and paste it here. So let's name this navbar. So it means if you look at our index.html, when we come back here and refresh, I think my app is running slow. Refresh, you can see there's nothing here because what you are rendering here is the index.html, and the index.html, there's nothing inside. If you look at our URLs, we are rendering, sorry, yeah, we are rendering the index, and inside the index there's nothing in it, so it means there's not going to be anything. So to render what is inside the navbar inside the index, all we just have to do is just type, so let's curly bracket, so we just one line of code. You can say the percentage sign, we'll say in extents, so extents, we will bring our quote. So inside our public, same for public folder, we want to render the navbar.html. So now when we come back here and refresh it, sorry, I think to bring another percentage sign here. So let's come here. So you can see now we are rendering what we have inside the navbar here. So it means whatever we are going to type here is going to be rendered inside the index.html file for us to see. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to link our style sheet. So because we are going to be using CSS, so in Django there's also another way of doing style sheet and stuff. So what we are going to do is that inside our app, the same folder, create a new folder called static. So inside our static, let's create another folder. So let's say public. So you can use any folder you want. So I'm using public. So we say CSS, another folder called CSS. So inside this folder, create a file. So we say navbar.css. So let's define some CSS. So let's say body, so background, say blue. So inside our navbar, want to come here, so link, so we say bring a double curly bracket, then bring a percentage, then we say static, then we bring another double quote. So we are rendering our CSS form. Remember, inside we created a static folder, and inside the static folder, we created a public folder. So this is the public folder, and inside the public folder we created a CSS folder. So this is our CSS folder, and inside the CSS folder then we created our CSS, which is the navbar.css. I hope you get it now. So at the end, let's bring percentage at the end of this. So come to the top here, then we say load static. So this should work by depending on the version we are using, it won't work for everybody. So for example, when I come here and refresh this, you see it's working for me. But sometimes maybe it may not work for you. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't work for you, then another solution you should go for is, because it happens to a lot of people. So for example, you need to define the static part. So static file, so we say static files directory. So we come to the down, we say os.path.join. So we say base directory, base directory, then static. So as you can see, my OS has been underlined. So let's come here, let's import OS. So import OS. So either way, this, when your static doesn't work, as I said, this should work. So right now let's stop the terminal, Control C, I'm gonna go for new terminal. Or sometimes this may even show you when it doesn't work. Okay, for me, my it don't even do anything here. So sometimes when it doesn't even work, it will show you after you add this URL. When it doesn't pick it here, it will even show you where the Django is looking for the URL of the static file. Then you just copy off and paste it. So for example, if you look inside my terminal, let me open my terminal. So I hope you can see it. So if you look at my terminal, you can see some warning here. So the directory, desktop, YouTube, web project, static. So static file directory does not exist. So it means Django is looking for the static file inside the web project right here. So it means you have to copy the static file here and paste it inside the project. So our static is in the application, you have to copy it and paste it inside the project. So it means when Django goes to your web project, then it will see your static file there. So that's just by the way. So for me, since I have no problem, I just have to ignore this. So let me just remove this because I don't need this. So then let me remove this too as well. So are good to go now. So everything is set. So now let's come here. Now let's remove all this. We are done with. We left with the now by the CSS. So right now let's go into the CSS. So let's remove this. So we'll say margin 0, padding 0. So say border box, so box sizing, border, this auto border box. Oh, what's wrong with my keyboard? So border box. Okay, then we'll add some font. So say font family. Things supposed to be font family, not font style. So let's come to the down here. Okay, first let's go back to the HTML. So let's create a div. So create a div with a class name container, and inside this div we are going to create a nav, and inside this nav we'll create a URL tag. Inside this URL tag we are going to create list item, so li tag. So this will be home. So let's copy and paste this. So this will be services. This will be product. We have our blog here. So contact. Okay, so let's go back to the CSS. Let me close this down a little bit. Okay, so we are almost spent a lot of time already, so I'm going to be a little bit quick because this HTML and CSS, so I assume everybody is familiar with it, so I'm just going to be skipping a whole lot of explanations. So right now I want to style our container we just created. So we want to give it a background color. So background. So you can see in our HTML you have this class container, so that's what you are calling it. So I have the background color we are going to use color code. So we have 2C, then 98, I think it should be 9B, B8. So when we come here and refresh it, you can see the background color is applied. So let's come back here. So let's give it a width 100%, then a height of 100 even each. So when we get here, you can see the width and the height changes, right? So let's pick the nav. So you can see this nav right here. So when we come here, say nav. So we are going to give the nav background color of white. So border radius of 50 pixels. Then padding of 10 pixels. So we'll give it some box shadow. So box shadow 0.25 pixels, 20 pixels, minus 20 pixels, then RGBA. So 304. Alright, so when we take a look, refresh this, you can see it added the background there. So next thing we are going to do, we are coming to pick then UL tags, the li tag. So nav ul then li. So you can see we have the nav ul then li. So go. So list style should be none. Then display. So inline block. Padding is going to be 13 pixels, 35 pixels. Font size is going to be 18 pixels. Then we have some color. So oh sorry, color. So font weight 500. Then cursor should be pointer as well. So that's when if you put the mouse pointer to change to cursor, to change to pointer, sorry. We have position relative as well. Then we'll give it a Z index of 2. Give it transition color 0.5 seconds. So from the next thing you are going to style is that. So we are going to pick the same. Okay, that's the same thing. So we just pick this. So come down here. Let's paste this. So this is going to be after. So content, put empty string there. So we have background. So the after, that's the hover that goes around when you hover on the buttons. So that's basically what it means. So 3, 4. So when you hover on the buttons, the color that comes. So I think we are going to use this color code 347991. All right. So we have width 100%. Give it height 100% as well. So border radius, say 30 pixels. Then we'll go for position. So it So top 100%. So left will be 50%. So we have transformation. So let's say translate. %. Then z index 1. So opacity 0. Okay, this should be like -1. So we have transition top 0.5 seconds. So that's the top 0.5 seconds with opacity of 0.5 seconds. So when we come and refresh here, nothing is going to happen yet. So because we've not created a hover, so when we come right to the down, we'll copy the same thing and paste. So hover color of this. So we come in, you can see this is hovering here. I think the white color is supposed to, what do we do? Okay, I think we need to add like okay, maybe we need to add, okay, let's paste this, let's copy this. So let's paste this. So we say opacity of 1. It's still not working. Opacity of 1. Okay, hover, sorry. We basically repeated the same thing. So we say after. So let's refresh this. Okay, so at least something is happening. So let's get back here. So we say top 50%. To refresh this. So we need to make this come to the window. So come back here. So we come go into the container. So we say that is if like you want the distance to be positioned here, or maybe basically you can just say, so it depends on how you want it. So let's just say so you can see when you come here, okay, to move them. Okay, let's leave the box shadow. So we can let's remove the border radius. Let's just say 0. So you can see it looks more like a nav bar now. So it depends on how you want it to be. So but for what you've seen in the video in the beginning, let's do what you've seen inside the video in the beginning. So let's come here. I just say align items center. So no, I think it should be rather justify content, then display flex. So that's, like I said, for the sake of what you've seen in the video. So this how it is. So you can play with this, you can play with this anyhow you want it. Like if you want it to be at the top, you want it to be at the side, or however you want it to be. So as you can see, it's working fine now. So that's all. I don't think there's anything else. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly subscribe for more videos coming. Thank you. See you in another video.